Valentine's Day, the holiday of love, romance, chocolates, and, wait, a beheading? Yeah, that's right. The real history of Saint Valentine's Day is a lot darker than you might think. But how did an execution turn into candlelit dinners and roses? Stay tuned, because today we're uncovering the real history of Saint Valentine's Day. To understand Valentine's Day, we need to travel back to 3rd century Rome. During this time, Emperor Claudius II, nicknamed Claudius the Cruel, was in charge. He was convinced that single men made better soldiers than married ones. So what did he do? He banned marriage for young men. Enter Valentine, a Christian priest who believed love was worth fighting for. He secretly performed marriages for young couples, defying the emperor's decree. But, of course, word got out. And when Claudius found out, he was not amused. Valentine was arrested and sentenced to death. Here's where history blurs into legend. While imprisoned, Valentine reportedly befriended his jailer's daughter. Some versions of the story say she was blind, and Valentine miraculously restored her sight. Others say they fell in love. Before his execution on February 14th, legend claims he left her a note signed, "From your Valentine." Sound familiar? And so the story of Valentine, whether fully true or embellished over centuries, cemented his role as a symbol of love and devotion. But here's where things get even more interesting. Before Valentine's Day, the Romans already had a festival in mid-February, Lupercalia. And let me tell you, this was not a hearts and flowers event. Lupercalia was a fertility festival dedicated to the god Faunus. Priests would sacrifice goats and dogs, then run through the streets, slapping women with the hides. Believe it or not, this was considered good luck for fertility and childbirth. Not exactly dinner and a movie, right? But here's the twist. Some historians believe that when Christianity spread, Pope Gelasius I decided to replace Lupercalia with a more holy celebration in the late 5th century. And guess which saint's feast day was conveniently on February 14th? That's right, Saint Valentine. By this point, Valentine's name was associated with love, but it took a few hundred more years for the holiday to fully evolve into what we recognize today. That change can be credited to the Middle Ages and to none other than Geoffrey Chaucer. In the 1300s, Chaucer wrote a poem linking February 14th to the mating season of birds, making it a day associated with love and courtship. Soon nobles and poets started writing love notes, early versions of today's Valentine's cards. By the 1400s, the tradition had taken hold among European nobility. King Charles VI of France even established a High Court of Love, where disputes about romantic relationships were settled. Imagine taking your love life to an actual court. As printing technology improved, love letters evolved into printed Valentine's cards. The 1800s saw mass production, making Valentine's cards popular among the general public. Soon, the holiday started to take on the commercial aspects we know today. The 19th century saw an explosion of Valentine's Day traditions, especially in England and the United States. The Industrial Revolution made it easier to produce affordable Valentine's cards in bulk. By the mid-1800s, companies were selling pre-made Valentine's cards, complete with sentimental messages and elaborate designs. And then came chocolate. In the 1860s, Richard Cadbury of the famous Cadbury Chocolate Company capitalized on the growing Valentine's Day trend by selling chocolates in heart-shaped boxes. The idea was a hit, and the connection between chocolates and romance was solidified. By the early 20th century, Valentine's Day had transformed from a medieval tradition into a full-blown industry. Companies like Hallmark began mass-producing Valentine's cards, and the holiday became a major retail event. Florists, confectioners, and jewelers all joined in, turning February 14th into a day of grand romantic gestures. Fast forward to today, and we've got chocolates, teddy bears, and billions of dollars spent on Valentine's gifts every year. Quite the evolution from secret weddings and Roman sacrifices, huh? Now here's a fun fact. Valentine's Day isn't celebrated the same way everywhere. Different cultures have their own unique traditions. In Japan, for example, women give chocolates to men on February 14th, and then a month later, on March 14th, known as White Day, men return the favor with gifts of their own. The type of chocolate given even has specific meanings. Giri choco for friends and colleagues, and honmei choco for romantic partners. In South Korea, the tradition extends even further. They not only celebrate Valentine's Day and White Day, but also have a Black Day on April 14th. On this day, singles gathered to eat black bean noodles, commiserating over their lack of romance. In Denmark, people exchange pressed white flowers called snowdrops instead of roses. In Wales, couples celebrate St. Dwynwen's Day on January 25th, exchanging intricately carved wooden spoons as symbols of affection. And in the Philippines, February 14th is the most popular day for mass weddings. Hundreds of couples gather in public places for large-scale ceremonies, making it a day of love in the most literal sense. But here's the big question. Is Valentine's Day still about love, or is it just a money-making machine? Companies rake in billions every year on flowers, candy, and jewelry. The commercialization of Valentine's Day has turned what started as a simple tradition into a global industry. Some people argue that love shouldn't be celebrated just one day a year, while others see it as a special occasion to show appreciation. There's also the debate over the pressure it creates, especially for singles or those who feel obligated to spend money on expensive gifts. On the flip side, many people genuinely enjoy the holiday. Whether it's couples celebrating their relationship, friends exchanging Galentine's Day gifts, or parents giving treats to their kids, Valentine's Day has taken on multiple meanings beyond just romance. At the end of the day, Valentine's Day is what you make it. Whether you're celebrating romance, friendship, or just treating yourself now. You know the surprising history behind this day of love. So what do you think? Should Valentine's Day be a celebration of love, or has it lost its meaning? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more fascinating history deep dives. Until next time, stay curious.